Welcome to Coach's Corner, everybody. This is the first episode of Goode and Faithful Servant. This will be starring Kerry Goode, as you can see in the background here. He was a great football player at Alabama, played in the pros. This is all about the first family of Alabama football. That's right. 4 brothers were stars at the University of Alabama. Antonio Langham was their first cousin, and I think lived with them for a while, but he was probably the brightest star out of all 5 of them. But can you imagine 4 boys from the same household starring? So we're going to talk about Kerry. We're also going to talk about his brother Chris. Both were teammates of mine. Both have amazing stories. Both are God-fearing men and were outstanding teammates. Kerry reminded me a lot of Gale Sayers, his fast, smooth agility, gait, reading the field with eyes of an eagle, just left you dumbfounded. As a player, you know greatness when you see it. My senior year at Alabama, opening game, Heisman Trophy winner Doug Flutie as a quarterback. We lost 38-31, but Kerry Goode was exceptional, man. He had 4 kickoff returns for 197 yards, over 300 all-purpose yards, and 3 TDs in just 2.5 quarters. Can you imagine? It was an epic day that sent ripples through the competition. Whatever you do, don't let this guy get the football. So, Kerry, thank you so much for co-hosting this episode. We are grateful for you and your wisdom. Kerry has ALS, if y'all don't know, Lou Gehrig's disease. He's been fighting it for 11, 12 years now, gave him 2 to 4 years. We're going to talk about Kerry's book in this segment. Goode and Faithful Servant by Kerry Goode. There's Kerry right there. Too many of my teammates have ALS. Timmy Green, my former teammate at Liverpool High School and the Syracuse All-American, Falcons first-round pick, also is fighting ALS. So our hearts go out to all those guys. But let me tell you, Kerry is full of wisdom. Okay, so we're going to take this segment, and I sent him questions, and he answered them. So I'm going to give you the questions, and we'll hear from Kerry himself. Yeah, that's right. Actually, his voice will come through AI. Of course, the ALS patients eventually lose their voice and the muscles and their larynx and their vocal cords. So he has lost his voice, but with AI technology, we're thankful that this podcast can move on. First episode of Goode and Faithful Servant. So we don't forget, let's plug your book, Kerry, so more folks can read it. Next week, we can do a deeper dive into the basis of your book. That episode is going to be fantastic, so everyone be sure not to miss it. Here's Kerry's opening statement.
You can purchase my book on the Goode Foundation website at thegoodefoundation.org. You can also purchase it on Amazon. The Goode and Faithful Servant. All proceeds go to support the ALS patients and families. We help with medical bills, utilities, supplies, and equipment. We also provide scholarships for the children of ALS patients, as well as send them to summer camps so they can just have fun and just be kids.
Oh, man, Kerry, let's tell our audience about what you recall from the day of September 8th, 1984.
The thing that stands out most about that day was, as we were getting off the elevator to go get on the buses to the stadium, there was a lady on the elevator that said to us, "Go break a leg." Now, I'm not a superstitious person, but that has stuck with me all of these years. As for the game, it was busy as usual for me. Most of my games in high school were the same as that night. Until that night, I never knew that I had any ligaments. It wasn't until a couple days later until I realized that I wasn't going to play again that season. 6 months later, I learned that I would never be the same running back as I once was.
That's right. Kerry tore his ACL in that game against Boston College with an amazing feat. And talk about highs and lows. Kerry's seen it all, and that's why he's so full of wisdom. Kerry, let's get into the family dynamic. Please tell us how your parents influenced your life. Talk about Clyde Jr., Pierre, Chris, all your brothers, and your cousin Antonio Langham. Wow, an entire basketball team. Man, I grew up with 3 older brothers myself who showed me no mercy, just brutal no mercy. Talk about your brothers. in your
My
family.
dad set the standard with his stories of his college career at Alabama State. He often spoke of the grit needed to play in his day. He was selected to go play for the Chicago Bears, but during that time, players didn't make a lot of money, so they had to moonlight or get a second job to make ends meet. With three kids at home, he gave up on his dream. People often ask if he pushed us to play. The answer is no. In fact, the only rule he had was, if you started something you couldn't quit. Beyond that, he exposed us to every sport available. My brothers and I compete against each other in the things we did. If Chris scored 3 touchdowns, I had to get three, or we would play on against other kids in the neighborhood.
Man, Chris was also my teammate. What a great player he is. We're going to have him on and tell his story because his story is quite amazing as well. You know, the book, Goode and Faithful Servant, Kerry, it's really exciting due to the fact that you weave in football with real life stories. You also include family members who have helped you develop these truly amazing players from your household. Their threads of faith-based wisdom continue to shine the brightest. I would like you to let our followers and our listeners know how you go about picking subjects and themes for your Facebook posts and your book.
All of my topics and subject matter comes from everyday life, whether it's good or bad. I try to apply a biblical perspective to it. My grandmother told me long ago that whatever you go through that there is a biblical solution for it. Then I apply a situation that has happened to me as a backdrop. I have to be careful and not share too much of the family's business because the women in my life will put my head on a stick.
Yes, they will. Man, your grandmother is correct. You can find everything in the Bible, every answer to any problem. You know, the old saying, never start anything that you can't finish. Do not quit. Holy smoke, that is something easier said than done. But I like the story about your dad. Once you start something, you finish it. Tell us about that story, Kerry.
I can't recall anything that I started and didn't finish because I had the fortune of having a big sister and brother. I learned a lot from their mistakes. Chris quit basketball once, and my dad came home early one day and found him home. He asked why he wasn't at practice, and Chris said that he had quit. He drove him back to the school and talked the coach into letting him back on the team. He also told the coach to punish him however he thought was best, and that was a lot of running.
I'll have to bring that up with Chris next time I talk to him, man. Oh my gosh. Here's another one. Always listen is twice as much as you talk, you say in your book. This is why God gives us two ears and one mouth. Helping one person may not change the world for that one person, but take heed of the fact that the possibility of someone's prayers are even helping someone else. Talk about that a little bit.
I think everyone can learn from that last quotes. The Lord knows that I have been taught a lesson that can open the eyes of everyone. When Kevin Turner, my friend and former Alabama teammate, was diagnosed with ALS, I tried to help him with his foundation by bringing awareness to this horrible disease. I did the Ice Bucket Challenge and challenged all Alabama running backs to do the same. Little did I know that the life that I was trying to save was my very own. I never thought in my wildest dream that I would be diagnosed with ALS. I have learned that barring a tragic accident, most of you will depart this life with a health issue.
So true. So true, Kerry. Wow, man. We one last question next week. Don't forget, we're dedicating this time every Monday night, folks. You're going to have Good and Faithful Servant episode here on Coach's Corner. Kerry's going to come on and answer critical questions. He's so wise above his years and beyond. He's just an amazing for having this debilitating disease with the way he stays. It's all God based. Next week, don't forget, we're going to have time to dive deeper into Kerry's book, Goode and Faithful Servants. Is there any comments, Kerry, you want to add before we close?
Yes, I think we should all do our best to be nicer to each other. It feels like we are in the wild, wild west. Everybody has a gun, and we'll use it over the tiniest of things. Please put the guns down and step back. Take a deep breath and not a life. Killing someone does not make you a man, but in the eyes of the Lord, not killing someone does. Fellows, stop putting your hands on our women. We got to learn how to remove ourselves from the situation. May the Lord open the windows of heaven and pour out blessings too big for you to receive. Thanks for listening.
Awesome, Kerry. Man, it was great having you on the show, the first episode. I'm looking forward to this every night, every Monday night. Well, everybody, if you enjoyed it, like it, share it. If you care, send it out to your friends, because this is going to be a blast, this Goode and Faithful Servant. Here's Kerry's book again. Make sure you get it, pick it up. I want to thank David Valletto, my buddy Dave Valletto, our teammate at Alabama, bought 10 books, and we handed out, David and I handed out 10 of Kerry's book. We're going to talk more about the Goode family coming up, and all of his wisdom throughout the book. We'll take a chapter or two every single week and talk about it, and I think it's important that you do. Stay tuned for these great messages for all my sponsors, because without them, this just wouldn't be possible. Have a great sports night, everybody. So long.
For 30 years, you have seen the orange Beck signs all over the Gulf Coast listing a property for sale or lease. Beck Partners is your trusted advisor in commercial real estate, property management, commercial and personal insurance. Senior Vice President David Valletto has been with Beck Partners since 1989. Take advantage of his wealth of knowledge by calling him today at 982-7352. 982-7352. Extensive experience in all aspects of leasing, sales, management, and site selection will make sure your expectations are exceeded.
Barnes Heating and Air is a proud sponsor of Alabama football, serving the entire Pensacola community for over 50 years. Barnes Heating and Air is passionate about providing customers with world-class air conditioning and heating repairs, sales, and installation. Barnes Heating and Air is family-owned, insured, and committed to quality. For a free estimate, call 478-0141. Barnes Heating and Air is #1 in customer service, with service calls 7 days a week. Call Barnes Heating and Air, 478-0141, and roll Tide.
Arbitrium Consulting for all your fencing, landscaping, pressure washing, tree trimming needs. Call 850-483-0350 for your free estimates. Serving Pensacola, Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, Destin, Perdido, Gulf Shores, Foley, and the entire Gulf Coast. Arbitrium Consulting is owner-operated, fully licensed and insured. Call today, 850-483-0350, the official landscaper of Coach's Corner.
Did you know there's a place where you can get good neighbor service and surprisingly great rates on your home and auto insurance? Yep, and that place is, ta-da, State Farm. Here's the deal. State Farm agent Will Rentschler is your go-to agent in Pensacola, Florida, for the service you deserve at the price that you want. So stop shopping around. State Farm agent Will Rentschler has you covered. Call 850-433-4678 for your surprisingly great rates today. Like a good...
My name is Steve Reynolds. I'm the manager and owner of Cordova Lanes, and we help keep your mind out of the gutter. Cordova Lanes is part of the community of Pensacola. Being here for 43 years, we've entertained more people than any other bowling center in the city. We self-fund for a living. Cordova Lanes is located at 2111 Airport Boulevard in Pensacola, behind Cordova Mall. Come on out and see us at Cordova Lanes Bowling Center.